Hi and welcome to another holiday haul video. So this is the video that follows my solo night in Magic Kingdom vlog, and if you saw that vlog you might have seen it ended badly where I was waiting for the Starlight Parade, which ended up being cancelled because of the rain. And I feel like I need to set the scene for this whole video because maybe it was like impulsive shopping based on my disappointment that the parade didn't happen, and also the fact that I've been sat outside. I said it was like 40 minutes or so in the last video, but in my head I'm sure it was more or less an hour I was sat outside. And what I didn't mention was my shoes and socks were soaked through, which happened when we were still at Animal Kingdom. Just walking out of there, they got completely soaked. So whilst I was sat there waiting for the parade, it did get increasingly cold. And then that final 5 minutes where it started raining, I was just cold and wet. And all I could think of was, I want to take these wet shoes and socks off. So when they announced the parade wasn't going to happen, which by the way, the people next to me did say, oh, they should have run it earlier. And I kind of thought, yes, they should have. When it was like 10 o'clock and there was a good sort of long spell of clear weather at that point, you think they could have brought it forward a bit instead of waiting until it rained and then cancelling it. But anyway, forget the parade. I'm still quite sore about it, as you can tell. But anyway, once they announced it wasn't going to happen, I decided to go just into the shops on Main Street because I was freezing cold. So in my head, I just wanted a hoodie and some new socks. So with that in mind, I went across the road into the shops and hunted for something to warm me up, basically. And it was a bit disappointing because I'd seen a nice hoodie earlier, but they didn't have it in this particular shop that I went in. So I was desperately trying to find something else and managed to make a couple of poor decisions. So after that rather long introduction, I'll show you what I did get. Starting with the bag. So this I picked up at the checkout to carry everything in because I needed a sturdy bag for it. And it was actually available in the UK from Disney Store because Sarah already had this bag, but apparently the UK one didn't have the Walt Disney World embroidery at the bottom. So I'm quite pleased I waited to get this one. And as you can see, it has Mickey and Minnie on the front and it says Happy Holidays. And it also has the Christmas castle, and it's made of like a thick canvas, so you feel you could put quite a lot of stuff in here and it's not going to split or anything. And then it's got big straps that are large enough to go over your shoulder, and it also zips closed. So I thought this would be a great way to get my stuff home in the rain. The second thing I've got, just open this up. Turns out it's a men's jumper. It's this rather bold Pluto sweatshirt. And if you're a regular viewer, you know I do like quite extravagant, bold prints. So this is certainly that. So I got this because I just like the design because it was kind of unusual and very colourful. And it's got lots of dogs on. So obviously I'm a dog lover. It also has Mickey on it somewhere. I always lose him. On the back you can see him, and I think on one of the sleeves there's a bit of Mickey. Yeah, so there's a bit of Mickey Mouse on the sleeve, and yeah, it kind of reminds me of like a comic book and different bits from that all pasted together. On the back it says Pluto and the edges of that are embroidered. So this is just a nice oversized jumper that, yeah, I think was actually in the men's section. But I liked it, so I thought it looked nice and warm. And I don't think I've really got anything of Pluto in my collection, so I thought it would make a nice change. Missy's had a haircut. She looks very skinny now. So there's 3 more items that I got. One of them I'm going to save for the Christmas party haul, as even though I bought it on this first night, it is part of the party merchandise, so I'll save it for then. The other 2 things I got, I don't actually have to show you because I returned them. So the first thing was a hoodie, which it was kind of like a sort of off-white mushroom colour, and it was fairly plain on the front, and then on the back it had a Mickey Mouse, but he was all in rhinestones, so it was quite sparkly on the back. And the reason I didn't keep that was, well, a couple of reasons. It was a bit too small, to be honest. I picked up an XL, because usually I get stuff in XL, and this jumper had been XL. And whereas this is really large and roomy, the hoodie was quite a snug fit. And it made me realise that there's a difference between a men's or unisex XL and the female XL. And I think because this particular hoodie was definitely from the female section, yeah, I needed a bigger size. But also when I put it on, it was a very thin material, the kind that you can kind of see like the outline of your t-shirt through. And I realised it just wasn't me. And the second thing was a pair of Christmas Crocs. I was looking for socks to change into, but then I thought, my shoes are wet, so if I put new socks on, they're going to get wet straight away. So I saw these fluffy Christmas Crocs and thought, oh, they look so warm and cosy. So I picked them up to change into, but when I came out of the shop, it had actually started raining quite heavily, and I realised the Crocs were no good because they had holes in the top. Also, there wasn't really a place for me to go in and change, because I came out of the shop and was sort of herded with the crowd towards the exit of the park. And there was just nowhere to pull over and do my quick change. So I ended up just going home with the bag of stuff, and I was still freezing cold. And then I got back to the hotel and it was a bit like, oh, well, I don't really need it anymore because all my stuff was already at the hotel, and I already had some fluffy Christmas Crocs that I'd bought for the trip. But I still kind of liked the Crocs, so I thought, oh, maybe it wasn't a stupid purchase. But then when I tried them on, they weren't even the right size. And I'd picked up what I thought was a 10, because that's what it said on the tag they were hanging from. But someone had put them on the wrong hanger. So I think they were actually a size too small. So yeah, basically I had a hoodie that didn't really fit and a pair of Crocs that didn't really fit. And I realised I'd spent sort of $300 or something. And then I had a bit of a panic, like, oh, what have I done? So the next day when we went to Magic Kingdom, I went straight to the Emporium to return the Crocs and the rhinestone hoodie. And I wasn't sure what the return policy would be, because I know in the UK you have like the right to change your mind and stuff, but I didn't know in America if those same rules apply. But I thought at the very least I could change for bigger sizes that will actually fit. But luckily they just gave me my money back and didn't really question it. So I was quite relieved with that, because I definitely overspent on stuff that I didn't really need. So Sarah also bought a few things that evening when she went back to the resort. She picked up the Pop Century ears, which are specific to our hotel, and they have like records on each ear to represent the music of the decades. And then she also picked up the Skyliner Loungefly, which is kind of cool. It has the different characters looking out of the windows of the Skyliner, which at this point we've not ridden, but it is connected to Pop Century Resort, and we're going to be riding it to Epcot and Hollywood Studios in the next couple of days. So that was my haul from my first evening in Magic Kingdom. I'm pleased with what I've ended up with. I've worn this quite a bit, and I did actually use the bag the following day, A, to return my stuff, and B, to hold my Christmas party outfit. So it was a good purchase. If you're not up to date on all of the holiday vlogs yet, then you can find them in their own playlist. And make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next one. Please give this video a like, and next week will be the start of our full day at Magic Kingdom. And if you got to the end of this video, well done. Sometimes I do waffle on a bit when I try and explain stuff. I think probably a lot of people switch off early on. So if you've got all the way to the end, please write in the comments, "I made it!" Thanks for watching. That's it.